Welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And this week, ladies, we're going to talk about perseverance and why that's important if you want to become successful. But before we get started, Andrea's got her tip of the week.
Well, my tip is very short this week. I was using my mascara recently, and then I was searching in my makeup bag for my eyebrow brush, and I thought to myself, why am I throwing out these mascara wands? And I decided that's it. So when I threw out the mascara, I kept the wand. I cleaned it all up, and it's a perfect brush for brushing your eyebrows, separating your lashes. And then you don't have to run around and buy a separate brush. You have it right there. And if it gets gunky or whatever, you just keep saving those mascara wands. And I have one in each bag now. So I thought that was a great tip.
It is, and actually, funny enough, I have different kinds of mascara with different types of wands, which is really handy when you think about it. Why are we, not that they're expensive, but why bother buying them when we have so many all the time that once the mascara is done, it's done.
Right.
And it's funny because I would always throwing those out.
I know. Good tip, huh?
Good tip. That's a great tip.
Right.
So we're going to talk about perseverance. Andrea saw something recently, I think it was on Facebook, and it really resonated with her. But in life, everybody should have some degree of perseverance, because if you've ever thought about something in your life that you didn't get to achieve or accomplish, and you realize after the fact, maybe you were this close to actually having that happen. And I know there's many examples out there, but some of the I'll say things like what they might call rules, Andrew's going to kind of go over those, because we sometimes forget, ladies, that we need to have that quality and the steps that we need to take to continue on our journey of success.
And this is basically the thing, the post that I saw, and it was basically powerful techniques to help you never give up. And they always say that the successful person was the one who got up one more time. And it's about that. It's having that perseverance. And a lot of times we're too much in a hurry. We want to get there. We want to achieve our goal. We want to be successful. And when it doesn't happen immediately, we just want to give up. And we cannot do that. So, and then people will say, well, how do you not give up? Like, I've just tried and I've tried. But so what? Keep trying. And
you know what it is, Andrea? I think with a lot of people, they are afraid to fail. And when things aren't going their way and they fail, they think that is something bad, except that is something that you're learning is helping you to achieve. And you need to fail many times in order to get on that road to success, where it will be. But my older brother is a prime example of that, because he's so good at so many things, but that level of success that he wanted, he would always quit and go on to the next thing before he reached the level he wanted to. And yet he was so good at it. It's just that he didn't get it fast enough. And he would just give up and think, well, maybe something else would be better. And that's what he should be doing. So he'd give up on this and go on to the next venture. But you can't keep doing that if you want to get ahead.
Yes, especially if it's something, that you're very passionate about, or you see yourself doing. It's like if you ever thought of writing a novel or running a marathon, and there's one technique that you could use, is to be inspired by people who have done it. And just in those two examples, I have a friend who's been trying to write a book now for, I don't know, it must be over 10 years. He's a very busy man. He's got a very professional job. And I just found out last night that it's finished. It's done. It's in for publication, and they're just on top of the world. And that took perseverance. He never stopped wanting that. And the same with my girlfriend, who always wanted to run a marathon, but she was very, very overweight. But years ago, she made the decision that she was going to make that happen. And she joined Weight Watchers. She joined a gym. She hired a personal trainer. She lost about 170 pounds.
Wow.
And last year, she ran her first marathon. And so those are inspiring stories that if one of those are your goals or anything, like our show, doing our show, you look to people who have gone before you and be inspired. Look up on the internet. There's a lot of biographies about people and their success stories and how they accomplish that. There's movies. There's all kinds of things that can get you inspired on those days that you feel like you want to give up, you know? And we all need that feeling of gratification. And, that comes from that happy hormone, the dopamine, so, and the way to get that is to achieve something, any little thing. Like I was reading in this post that they were saying, even if flossing your teeth is something that you want to accomplish, because let's face it, who wants to do that every morning, right? But when you do it, it gives you that pump of dopamine, and we're always looking for that feel good, happy feeling. And so just do one little thing towards making you feel good about yourself.
Well, even just doing our weekly show, Andrea,
Yes.
it helps us to stay motivated to keep
Yes.
on going, even though, we're not at the level of subscribers that we would like and everything
Yeah.
else, but we don't give up on that. And
That's right.
Every time I find that we finish filming, I always feel really good about like that I've done something very successful. And it makes me feel that, I got to keep on going. I got to keep on going because I feel a big level of satisfaction when we've got a show that's done.
Oh, I do too. And like you say, in the morning, it's like, oh, I gotta get up, I gotta shower, do my makeup.
Gotta put makeup on.
Put makeup on, But now that we're right into it, it feels so good. And I feel that happy hormone kicking in, So the rest of my day is gonna be fantastic. I know it, because we did the preparation and the work we needed to do to make this happen. And that's like, if your goal is to write a novel, set the time aside and say, okay, every Friday afternoon for an hour, I'm going to sit with my pencil or my iPad and just sit there for the hour, whether you feel inspired or not, because sometimes just doing that will inspire you to put down words.
But it's also getting into that habit then, in that particular
and a
case.
habit. Yes.
Sometimes you need the habit.
Yeah. And then, another way to maybe, get you going again is just to have a good rant, maybe with your husband, maybe with a really good friend that knows you. And, just, I'm sick of this. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. And, and just getting that off your chest sometimes gives you that renewed sense of wanting to keep going.
I have to tell you, when you mentioned about wanting to get, and I'll say do the rant or vent to somebody, there was something on the internet, and it's been used a lot. And it has to do, I guess, with the communication and stuff, because sometimes when you vent to somebody, you're not looking for any answers. You just need to get it off your chest.
Yes.
And sometimes people want to help, but you're not looking for help.
You're not looking for that.
But in this particular case, and ladies, you can Google this because I'm sure it's going to be on the net, but there is a lady that's trying to vent to her husband, and she's got a nail stuck in her forehead. and he's trying, and she's going on about these headaches she's getting and all these other things. And she doesn't want answers. She just wants him to listen. And he's like trying to point at this, like maybe that's the problem. But it's just such a funny, I'll say,
Clip. Yeah.
scenario
Yeah.
of this communication kind of thing where
Sorry, I
women
keep
are not,
losing my iPad.
where women are not looking for answers, but they're looking to just get it off their chest.
Right. Right. I mean, me personally, I live with my mother-in-law for 30 some odd years, and the same thing. Sometimes I would be like, because I would never take anything out on her or yell at her, but sometimes I would be like, done, thinking I'm done, and I would just, start ranting on my husband. And I said, and listen, I don't want you doing anything about this. I'm just telling you so I can get it off my chest, okay? Because knowing him, he'd run and start causing all kinds of chaos. That's not what I want, because then that adds to the problem, right? I said, just want to rant, just want to get it off my chest, and then
because
you
it
feel
does
better.
help you to continue going on.
It does. It really did, and he was good about it. So the other thing that you can do is visualize yourself at the end. Visualize yourself having a book launch and getting to the end of the finish line. And I got to tell you this, because when I read this, my sister, when we were in Florida, decided when she got home, she was going to go back to Weight Watchers and join the gym. And I thought, okay, that's great. And she says, and just to make sure I stick to it, she bought herself the most amazing dress in about a size 4 or 5 sizes down from what she currently is.
Wow.
Yes. And she's hung it on her, I don't know where, somewhere in her apartment where she can see it every day. And it's motivating her, it's pushing her to keep going. And she's done wonderful. She got back on Weight Watchers and she joined the gym, and she's reporting to me every other day, down this much, down that much. And she's working towards it. So I think she's going to be able to do it just by hanging that dress up.
But the other thing, Andrea, it's not just a dress. And this is what I was going to mention. Sometimes people need accountability partners, and it helps them to stay motivated. Well, your sister is actually, by reporting to you, you're her accountability partner.
Well, that's funny, Linda. It's funny, Linda, you say that, because that's the next step. That's the next point in never giving up, being accountable.
Absolutely. And again, this was something that many, many years ago I learned from Jack Canfield, is that when you want to accomplish some kind of goal, and again, you need to persevere towards that. The one strong way is having somebody every day, every other day, every week, whatever it is that you agreed upon, just to be accountable to that. What did you accomplish? If you didn't accomplish the goal, why didn't you accomplish it? What did you make more important than that goal?
Right.
And when you're telling that to your accountability partner, you don't want to disappoint them. So you want to be able to have good, positive news to report on your regular basis.
And they say to even tell everybody, like, oh yeah, I think I'm going to be writing a novel, or I'm going to be doing this. The more people that know, the more they're going to ask you, so how's the book coming? Are you still at the gym? Are you, how's your show going? Like, I get those questions all the time from my friends, and I'll say, great, we're doing great, but it keeps us going, like, even just to prove people wrong, because there's always going to be people out there criticizing what you're doing. You just got to not listen, and proving them.
But they say the best way to have your revenge is the success of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So whether it's your sister losing weight or us really having a lot of subscribers, that is the best way to have, I'll say, the one up on somebody that really is being critical.
Right.
Because some people might think, oh, you know what, you're too old, you have nothing really to offer, whatever. because they are lacking something in their own life that they're going to be critical of,
They've
us
given
or
up.
other people.
They've given up on their dreams.
They're giving up. Yes.
Or they just think that, we're, like you say, too old. What's the point? Well,
Yeah.
we're alive. We're living. So let's live. Like we said a couple episodes ago, you in order to be successful, you have to keep trying and living your best life, and whatever in whatever capacity that is. Even
Yes.
if I see women that are, like you say, like, well, our golfers and our curlers, like they might be in wheelchairs, or they might be not be able to bend down. They find a way to stay relevant and to have fun,
Yeah.
you know so anyways, and then the other thing is to reflect. How lucky are we to live in a world where we can have those dreams and actually strive for them? How blessed are we? So many parts of the world, women can't read, they're not allowed to be educated, they're not allowed to have a dream. It's it's not part of their culture. So let's reflect on that don't give up, because so many women would love to be able to have what we have, and be able to even think that they could have a dream or realize a dream. Even like driving in some countries is not allowed for women, and here we are, we just take that for granted, hop in our car and go, our freedom that we have. So reflect on that when you want to give up, don't, because so many other women would love to be in your position.
Well, and the other thing is too, there's been a lot of women that have paved the way to allow us to this point, because don't forget, it wasn't all that long ago women couldn't even vote.
I
And
know.
like, and then maybe in some countries they still can't, but the fact that in North America we've come a long, long way, but because other women were trailblazers
Right.
and not giving up and not giving in,
That's
because
it.
it's easy to give in to, I'll say, a lot of pressure from peers and other things that say, I'm not going to bother. Why
Right.
bother? But
Because
you
it's
have to
easy.
bother.
It's easy to give up.
It's easy to give up.
And
And it is
so,
true. It is harder
yeah,
to persevere, to
it
be
is.
successful at whatever it is that you want to be successful at. And if you think about it, all the inventions that were done, and I remember reading something many, many years ago that said basically everything that's been invented has been invented. And this was still in the 1800s. And I
Yeah.
mean, look how far we've come,
Look what
because
keeps coming.
somebody didn't give up. Somebody
Somebody
did,
didn't give up.
took that one extra step.
Exactly, exactly. So those are all the things to think about, when you think you're on the verge, just get up one more time. Just say, okay, come on, try it again. Try it again. I mean, it's like my weight loss journey. I reached my goal before Christmas. And if anybody's been watching my journey on Instagram, I got back for after our winter vacation and gained 8 pounds. So I could have said, forget it, but you know what?
Why bother?
Why bother? But it's so no, went back to the meeting, started back again. Happy to report I'm down about 2 pounds now. And I'm very proud of myself and happy that I stuck to it. Right. And it would have been easy to say, forget it, but I didn't want to. And that's the thing. It's a lifetime journey. It's not just a one day fix. Everything is a journey. So enjoy every step. Like I enjoyed myself. I had fun. I went on 2 cruises. I ate what I wanted, and I think I did pretty good. Only 8 pounds, really, you know. But now I'm back on it, and I'm still eating foods that I love. Not the cakes and the sugar stuff, but I'm making it work, and that's what you have to do. Like I enjoyed that. Now I'm enjoying back on the Weight Watcher wagon again. I am enjoying it because now disciplined, and because, when you do eat bad, you don't feel as good. And I noticed that, like my energy level, my mood, sometimes when I'm on all those sugary highs and stuff. I actually, when I was leaving Florida, I said, can't wait to get back on my Weight Watcher routine, And now that my energy's back, my sleep is better, my mood is better, and so it's a journey. So,
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Andrea, because my sister and her husband have totally turned their way of eating and looking at food right around, because my sister used to love her sweets and things. Now, she never gained weight. She was very lucky. She was very slim and still is very slim, but she gave up all of this food, partly because health issues came up that she needed to eliminate certain foods.
right,
But she
right,
said now, when she does, I'm going to call it treat herself, she actually doesn't feel good after. And
right,
so she
right,
doesn't treat herself that well, because she actually is feeling so much better eating the better foods. She
right.
said now her body's so used to eating, I'm going to say clean food,
Clean, clean.
that
Yes,
to go back into something that was a treat for her is no longer making her
right,
feel that happiness that she used to
right,
have, which is getting good, because then she less and less is motivated to even want to treat herself
right.
to these different foods, because she doesn't
Like
feel the same.
what? The body doesn't need that junk. It doesn't need sugar. It doesn't need wheat. Doesn't need dairy. What it needs is minerals, vitamins, which we get from nature. Which we get from fruits, vegetables, protein. That's what our body needs. So when you give your body what it needs, it feels good, and it makes you feel good. You know, and just too bad we can't get away from that sugar. I don't know what it is, that it's like, if you tripped on a I don't know, a block, well, you sure wouldn't go back and try it again and trip again, so, but we do that with food. Like you eat a piece of pie, and then after you feel, oh, I'm so bloated, I don't want, doesn't feel good, the next day you'll have the pie again. I don't know why we're like that, why our
But
brains.
I think, Andrea, though, it's those people that really crave the sweet over the savory, because I've never craved sweets. It's
Oh,
never
lucky
been in my
you.
makeup to do that. And my sister and I had the same parents, and yet she used to crave the sweets. When you go into her home, it was always full of the sweets, the pastries, the candy, all the stuff that you really
Right,
shouldn't be eating on a regular basis. But that's what she craved. She didn't crave the real good food. I,
right.
for some reason, always like the good food. Sweets I like to look at. I find that they're very attractive and appealing. But if I take one or two pieces of something, it never tastes as good as it looks, in my opinion, because I
Yes,
don't crave the sugar.
oh,
And so it's hard for
yeah,
people.
that was a saying that I heard this saying. I'm talking when I was a teenager watching Star Trek, and Spock said once in an episode, the wanting is usually better than the having. So
Yes.
I loved that saying. I remembered it my whole life. So achieving your goals, you should be happy in the journey, because sometimes once you get there, you don't know what to do with yourself. It
But
might not
Andrea,
be
a good
everything.
point of that is people that buy a home, their first home, and all the sacrifices you have to go through to save that money to get into your first home. And I love that saying, because I wasn't a Trekkie. The thing is, the having was really more exciting than really getting it,
The
because
wanting, the wanting.
the wanting of something.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's true, like when I wanted a particular car as my first car, when I got that, it was like I wanted it so bad, but Yeah, it was just a
Yeah.
car
It was,
after.
yeah, it was more fun wanting it and
Yes.
striving for it than actually
Yeah.
getting it. Yeah.
Well, and a
That's why
lot of
that stuck with
successful
me.
people find that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're
So,
right
and
about
another,
the journey. I love
yeah,
that.
because, and another thing to remember that I read was not to give up, because at one point you wanted to be where you are right now. So if you give up, you'll end up going backwards. So you are at a point where a year ago you couldn't have even seen yourself at. So remember that. So think a year goes very quickly. So in another year, how far you'll come. Don't give up.
Don't give up. And we were talking earlier, and with don't giving up, and I'm going to say hang in there.
Hang in there.
When we were talking about this topic, my visual that I had in my head was this cat hanging from this bar, and it said, "Just hang in there," you know. And that's the visualize and stuff that I get. It's like, yeah, you got to hang in there. You got
Hang
to
in there.
persevere, because you don't know that next step that you take might be the one that actually
Right.
brings you to that end point that
Pinnacle.
you're looking
Yes.
for.
To the summit.
But then, do you know, Andrea, I have to bring this up too, because people that I'll say struggled when they got married and they had their first crappy little apartment. And even if you were single, because I remember one of my crappy apartments when I was single, when you get away from that and you eventually get the house and everything else, a lot of people look back and reflect how they started. And when you talk about the journey, enjoy the journey, it brings people back to that time when they were struggling, because that was the most enjoyable.
Yeah.
Once you get it all, it's not the same.
Right.
Wanting it was more, I'll say, interesting,
Yes.
because you had to work to get it.
Yes. You had a
Once you
purpose.
got it, it wasn't quite the same.
Exactly. So have another goal once you get
Always,
that one.
always got to have another one.
Yes.
Another one
Yes.
that's bigger and
Yes.
even further out there that you've got to stretch.
Exactly.
I know, I love it. I know, I actually love, and you can, we talk about this as well. I love listening to our programs because it recaps the stuff that we have to remind ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
And
what we talk about, we're learning ourselves every day. I'm
yeah,
looking things up. I'm learning new things, and we talk about that also in our episodes, learn new things, be active, be involved, live life.
yeah, live life. On that note, we're going to say goodbye for this week, and we look forward to seeing you and serving you the following week. So if you do like what we've been sharing with you, please
Like
share.
and subscribe.
Can't
It
do it
helps us.
without you, ladies.
Exactly.
Until next week.
Have a great week, ladies. Bye.